You're in for a big treat on this week's show because that is the hottest big bass lake in the entire United States. What lake is it? Where is it? You're about to find out because Fox Sports Outdoors is on the air right now.
It's time for your weekly fishing reports and real-time outdoor news from the Southeast region. This is Fox Sports Outdoors.
You're looking at a really famous area called 6 Mile on sprawling Toledo Bend Reservoir, situated right along the Texas-Louisiana border. This place is an ocean. It's 185,000 surface acres, nearly 1,300 miles of shoreline, and it's the home of some of the best big bass fishing in the entire United States. As a matter of fact, from May of 2015 until May of 2016, there were over 130 10-pound plus largemouth bass weighed in and documented right here at Toledo Bend Reservoir. It is an incredible bass fishery that's been here for a long, long time. And on today's show, we're going to go out and do a little exploring, show you around the lake a little bit, and give you just a little taste of what this fishing is like. And while we're doing that, we're taking you around the region for your very latest fishing reports from our team of insider reporters. Hey, we're in for a lot of fun. We've got a gorgeous day today to do it. Right now, let's get the Nitro Z20 launched into Toledo Bend and get you back to get it all started at the FSN Studios with your weekend planner.
The Salooner tables are indicating that peak times for fishing over the weekend will begin a little before sunrise on both days and again at 4:52 p.m. on Saturday and 5:43 p.m. on Sunday. Expect the sun to rise at 6:35 and set at 8:32. And the moon will be 84% visible. Stay with us for fishing news from around the area. Plus, Bassmaster angler Dean Rojas joins me for this week's Ask the Pro. We're coming right back.
Fox Sports Outdoors is brought to you by Academy Sports and Outdoors. Right stuff, low price, every day. Lose, fueled by passion, driven by innovation. Feel the difference. Gene LaRue and Bobby Garland Lures. With our baits, a good day of fishing is in the bag. And Strand Fishing Lines, the standard of dependability.
Hey everybody, welcome back. We're out on Toledo and I've got a bite on this Carolina rig. There's a fish swimming with it right now. Real. Got him. There we go. There's our first one. Let's see what we got. Feels like a halfway decent fish. Under the boat he goes. Oh yeah, that's a decent fish. All right. Yeah, just for starters, we have a bass. That's my first Toledo Bend bass in many years. There you go. We're going to put him back. And let me get you oriented to this lake. As I mentioned, this is an ocean of a lake, and I'm going to get back here where you can see. I want you to look at this. We are sitting out in the middle of literally nowhere. It is miles and miles and miles. And matter of fact, this lake is 65 miles long, if you can believe that. It is, in fact, if the wind gets up out here, it can just be an absolute killer. A lot of the fish, much of the year, the bass, live on underwater humps and ridges. Some parts of the lake have hydrilla and grass growing up on top of them. Some are barren. The one I'm fishing right now is just barren. There's nothing out here. But it's a long, skinny ridge, about 7 or 8 feet on top, and it drops off to 20 feet on both sides and all the way around it. So I'm fishing a Carolina rig. I'll show you all the gear and everything that you'll need to do this a little bit later on in the show, but we've got to start humps and ridges, and there's tons of them down through here. In fact, I can see boats lined up on these ridges almost as far as I can see down here behind us. You've got to have a good topo map in order to come out and do this style of fishing, but it can be killer. And lots of the big bass that get caught doing this right here. Let's get you started with fishing and lake reports.
The Hydrowave by TH Marine uses actual sound patterns recorded of bait fish and or of bass feeding on bait and emits those recordings through a speaker under the water. The goal is to activate bass and or keep them active for longer periods of time. To make your next fishing trip more effective, check out the Hydrowave at thmarine.com.
Hey guys, in Tennessee and Kentucky right now, it is just full-blown summertime. You know, I want to talk to you this week about two things that are really the most talked about things that I'm hearing right now in my network. One of them is night fishing. This region has got a couple fisheries that are really, really good at night. Actually, more than a couple, a bunch. One I would say, hands down, is Center Hill. Another is Percy Priest, and another would be Dale Hollow. Lake Cumberland, spectacular night fishery, and Kentucky Lake. So guys, night fishing, it's cooler, there's less boat traffic, bugs are kind of an issue, and seeing's kind of an issue, but if you can work with that, you get the lake to yourself and you catch some really big fish. Big single Colorado blade spinner baits in dark colors with gold or dark blades, and big worms and black and blue jig. Pretty simple, the tackle selection is pretty easy. Let's talk about the other thing right now. That's small bodies of water. Tennessee and Kentucky both have several state-managed lakes that are spectacular. Great fishing, easy access, and lots of fish. So guys, if you come into Kentucky and Tennessee right now, beat the heat, beat the crowd, go get on a small body of water or go at night. We'd love to see you here. God bless.
There's another Carolina rig bite right here. Take your time, reel up the slack, keep the weight on it, make sure he's there. Got him. There he comes. Oh, he got off right there. We got a few fish working right here. Just as I said, fishing a Carolina rig, a lot of times you can just use the trolling motor and what I call stroll, which was actually what I was doing then. I was just letting the weight drag behind the boat about 30 yards and just letting it ease along over rocks and stumps and whatever's down there on the bottom. A lot of times that's just a deadly way to cover a lot of water and get bit. Stay with us. Coming back to Toledo Bend. Right after this, got a few fish biting today. Oh, I've got a good one on. Well, I picked up and threw a crankbait out there, a big crankbait. And a good pull hit it. Oh man, it's a good fish. Jumped him right in the net. All right. All right, get us some of that. How about that? That's a toad right there. That's a Toledo Bend specimen, like we wanted to catch when we came out here. He's not one of those giant double-digit dudes, but he is one fine fish nonetheless. Hit a big old deep diving crankbait out here. Well, when these fish move out on these humps and ridges, like we talked about, Carolina rig is a great way to catch them, but if the fish are active at all and if they're feeding on shad at all, you can't beat digging a big, deep crankbait off these deep ridges. All right, let's let that fish go back. All right, that was fun. And I'll tell you what you want to do. You want to fish these ledges where the ridge drops off into that deep water. You want to find a spot that's whatever the shallowest is, whether it's 6, 8, 10, 12, find the spot where it ledges off. And then, here's the other key. That was a classic example. I made a big long cast, ground that crankbait down, and I could feel it in contact with the bottom, and then it hit a stump, and I actually got snagged on it for a minute. But I didn't pull back and bury those hooks. I just gently shook that rod, gave it a little slack, and that crankbait will float back up out of that stuff, and that's where you're likely to get a bite. So it snagged, floated off, and when I started it again, that's when that big boy right there rolled up and got it. That was a good specimen and a perfect example of what can happen out here. Okay, got something working. Beautiful, calm day out here. You don't get many windless days like this on a giant lake like this. It can really get rough out here, but we've got a good day going right now. Hey, let's go to a reporter and get you some fishing and lake reports right in your own backyard.
This part of the program is brought to you by Visit Jacksonville. Northeast Florida offers great fishing, family-friendly beaches, top restaurants and resorts that are easy to get to, and offer family fun for everyone. So come on, visit Jacksonville. Well, the weather's hot out there, but the fishing's hot also. I was talking to Captain Brad Stewart up on Tybee Island near Savannah, and he's catching limited numbers of really nice-sized Spanish mackerel. Some of these fish are going up to 7 pounds. Brad's catching them. You can catch him trolling with Clark spoons, but he primarily likes live bait fishing. He'll anchor up, he'll chum, and put out small menhaden baits, and he's catching Spanish mackerel that way. These are keeper fish from 18 inches all the way up to 7 pounds. Those are very big Spanish mackerel. Brad also says that when you're the first Spanish mackerel or two you catch, if you catch that fish real quick and put it on a multi-hook kingfish rig and put it out the back, you can catch some big kings that way. On the inshore side near Savannah, Brad says that the flounder fishing has been very good for 1 to 4 pound fish on the north side of Tybee Island and around Wausau Island during low moving tides. You want to use mud minnows and popping corks. In Mississippi, there's great family fun fishing now south of the islands for king mackerel, Spanish mackerel too, bluefish and ladyfish. Over in Alabama, early in the morning, fish for sea trout with live shrimp around the oil and gas rig areas where the bottom's real hard. It's hard pan rock for shell. Well, that's it for the Coastal South. There's a lot going on. Get out on the water and take a youngster with you when you go.
This week's Alabama, Georgia, and Mississippi Freshwater Fishing Report is sponsored by Lake Guntersville, Alabama. Boasting 69,000 acres of clear blue perfection, the area offers hotels, lakefront cabins, public boat ramps, and restaurants. If you prefer big fish in a big pond, Guntersville is the right destination. www.fishguntersvillelake.com. Now, the hot weather of summertime is catfish time. Logan Martin Lake to the east of Birmingham gives you the best action for summer flathead catfish in the Cotton State. There's plenty of flatheads that run in the 20-pound range, and even 40-pounders are possible. The best area is on the upper end of this 17,000-acre Coosa River impoundment, particularly from the I-20 bridge up to the Neely Henry Dam. To find these fish, look for current breaks formed by rocks or logs or depressions in the bottom. Now, the bigger fish especially are fond of those holes on the lake bed. Anchor upstream and drift a shad, bluegill, or other minnow down just off the bottom for the best results. You can catch some summer crappie right now on 35,000-acre Granada Lake in North Mississippi. You want to be trolling small crankbaits off the ends of long main lake points for fish up to 3 pounds. In coastal Georgia's Altamaha River, it's another good spot for flathead action right now.
Fox Sports Outdoors is brought to you by Exide AGM Marine Batteries. Starts like new, stays like new longer. Motor Guide Trolling Motors, because accuracy matters. And Nitro Performance Fishing Boats. Champions aren't born, they're made.
Hey, 4 things real quick. Number 1, they catch a lot of bass at Toledo Bend and some really big ones out of this stuff right here. This is hay grass. It's just lining nearly all the shorelines, and it's deep. It grows out to 6 or 8 feet deep. So they flip the outside edge of this stuff or flip back in the holes, and you can catch one that way if you're coming here with some kind of a creature bait or a soft plastic jerk bait. Number 2, I want to show you what some of these deep humps and ridges look like on a topographical map. It's real important that you be able to read your map, so you're looking at several of these underwater ridges. This is the kind of thing that we've been fishing and catching some really good fish, and a lot of these double-digit bass come off those ridges all summer long, and actually most of the year. Thirdly, I want to show you a good bass that my brother caught. He runs camera for us, and the cameraman even got to fish a little bit on this episode and managed to catch one really good bass. And finally, I want to show you a little bit of my footage that we shot yesterday before the cameraman got here. A little selfie video for you. There's one. I don't think he's a monster or anything, but just a little chunk. Well, as you can see behind me here, we're kind of out in open water, and if you're coming to Toledo Bend, really this is a lake that you need a couple of things. You need great electronics, you need a good chart of the lake, because it's just thousands and thousands of rolling humps and ridges and points, and they're all out in open water. There's nothing to indicate where they are, nothing on the shoreline. You literally just have to rely on your charts and your electronics to know where you are and to know where to cast in order to catch a fish. Or you can hire a guide and come out here and get them to just put you on the spots. But you really need to be able to see with your underwater eyes with your chart and electronics to see where these fish are, because I'm actually sitting out in about 11, 12 feet of water. I'm throwing up into like 7 or 8. But the only way I know that is just by watching my Lowrance HDS system up here, and it tells me exactly where I am, where I'm throwing. That's where I seem to be getting the bites. Well, it looks like I've tied into something pretty good here. This feels like a better pull. Yep. That's a better fish. There we go. There's your good Toledo Bend chunk right there. Got him on a Carolina rig lizard. How about that? Beautiful fish. Beautiful fat female. Just cruising up and down this edge of this ridge right here. Tell you, we'll let that one go back right there after you get a good look at it. Back she goes. What you can't see out here is that there's tons of lay down logs and timber all over the bottom here. This used to be I guess the Sabine National Forest, and they actually actively harvest the pine out of these forests all around here. You see logging trucks everywhere. But when you look out here across this water, it's just really open. You don't see anything. But when you're dragging this Carolina rig with this big 3/4 ounce weight along there, you feel every single thing on the bottom. And I'll show all that to you at the end of the show. About a 3-foot leader and a Biffalo lizard, and that one fell for it, but you can feel it dragging across those logs and limbs and branches as you come across the bottom, and that's right where those fish are laying. All right, let's get you some more fishing and lake reports from where you live.
Hey folks, Captain E here with your Carolinas report, this week brought to you by the Dead Dog Saloon, located on the Marsh Walk in Murrells Inlet. Make sure you put us on your list of destinations to visit when you're in the Grand Strand area. We're open 7 days a week for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Come by and see what all the locals love about this place. Here it's always about the food, the view, and the music. Tell you what, saltwater side of things, you know, we're in July, we're late July, the water temperatures are warm, but there's so many things you can still do. The spade fish are still out on the reefs here in South Carolina. One thing I try to tell people is you don't have to have jelly balls. You can catch them on small pieces of shrimp, but my favorite go-to way is to get a 5-pound box of squid. I'll take a clothes hanger just like I would with a jelly ball teaser, but I'll take that clothes hanger and I'll take and pull the tentacles off of that squid, and I'll fold it into parts, fan it up, and slide it on that clothes hanger. What I'm gonna do is create a circle with those squid. I'm gonna close that clothes hanger and I'm gonna drop it down there. Those spade fish will come up to that. Now the one deterrent on these reefs right now is gonna be those barracudas that are out there. They're a great time to catch them, and you can catch them on rigs, but they are a deterrent for these spade fish staying up for a long time when they come up and start attacking them. But you can have a great time right now with spade fish on the reefs, and also the flounder. Get out on those reefs, use a heavy bucktail jig, put live bait or artificial on it, and fish those areas. This will deter some of the black sea bass and the trash fish from getting on it while you're fishing these areas, and you can catch some of the biggest flounder of the year on these nearshore reefs. This has been your Carolinas report, brought to you by the Dead Dog Saloon. Remember, fish smarter, not harder, and keep your chaos organized.
Be sure to join Fox Sports Outdoors again next week, Thursday night at 6, or catch the repeat airing Sunday morning at 8:30. And you can always watch the latest episode in full HD on the front page of our website at foxsportsoutdoors.com. Plus, catch up on all past episodes by clicking the archive button, and see lots of how-to and product videos by clicking the how-to button. Also, stay up to date with the latest fishing news, videos, and photos by clicking the follow button on our Twitter feed. And get lots of that same info by clicking the like button on our Facebook page. Fox Sports Outdoors is brought to you by Tracker Boats. It's more than just a boat, it's a tracker. Costa Sunglasses, see what's out there. Mercury Marine, official outboard of Fox Sports Outdoors. And Lowrance Electronics, find, navigate, dominate.
Welcome back, everyone. It's time for the Ask the Pro question, your chance for advice from professional anglers. This week, Jeff wants to know, what is a good way for a beginner to catch bass in a deep, clear lake? For some guidance, we found an angler who has been fishing those kind of lakes most of his life, Dean Rojas.
Well, that's a great question. And growing up in San Diego, California, I'm used to throwing in deep water. That's all we do is fish deep, clear water. So my advice to you is to fish small worms. Small worms are always going to get you your bites. It doesn't matter if it's the winter time, springtime, fall, and summer. You're always going to get bites on a 4-inch. Hand poured would be even better if you can get that. Or custom pour will always work in those deep, clear impoundments. It's what I grew up doing. I'm here today.
Thanks, Dean. If you have a question to ask one of the pros, visit foxsportsoutdoors.com, click on the Ask the Pro link, and let us know. Now let's see which big fish picture gets someone a new pair of sunglasses on the Costa Catch of the Week.
Time now for this week's winner in the Costa Catch of the Week contest. Here he is. He is Eric Adkins of Owens Crossroads, Alabama, showing a 5-pound smallmouth bass he caught at Lake Wheeler, Alabama. Get this bass jumped into the boat as he was trying to lip it. If you'd like to be our next winner, just go to our website at foxsportsoutdoors.com. On the right side of the front page, click in the Costa Catch of the Week area, follow the instructions, send us your photo. You could be our next winner. And you can see all of the Costa frame and lens styles at their website. Go back to the front page of our site, click on the Costa logo, and you can see all of the great frame styles in the 580p and 580 glass lenses, and all of the great colors and styles of frames, including the frame I was wearing this week called Cat K. Next up on the Academy Right Stuff, I want to show you the critical parts of a Carolina rig and why it's important to what we were doing here on Toledo Bend. It starts with a pretty good size 3/4 ounce brass weight, followed up by a glass bead, and then that's a little knot protector right there, and it's also made out of glass. That makes a lot of noise clicking back and forth, dragging on the bottom. Then we've got a barrel swivel, and then here's the deal. I used a long leader on these ridges. That's about a 4-foot leader, and I've got a 4/0 offset worm hook on it, and to catch the fish on this episode, we used a Jean LaRue salt flicker, and we left the little curly tails on it. You and I make lots of choices every day of our lives. Some significant, some much less important. From what to eat for breakfast to what to do after work. With every one of those choices, there is a short window of time when we can change our mind. Nobody makes all good choices. We all make some bad ones from time to time. But within each one of us is a moral compass built deep inside the ability to tell right from wrong, a good choice from a bad one. The question then becomes, who will take that short window of time, that exit ramp away from a bad choice before the decision is made? I hope you enjoyed our trip to beautiful Toledo Bend Reservoir in Deep East Texas on the Texas-Louisiana border. And as you saw, it's home to some quality largemouth bass, including the possibility of a bass of a lifetime, a true double-digit bass. Thousands of them swim in this reservoir. And I hope we gave you some tips and techniques that you can use to have a great chance to catch one of your very own. From Toledo Bend Reservoir, until next week, I'm Barry Stokes saying be safe, have fun. Bye-bye, y'all.